Sácame.
Hey, howdy, hey. That's a horrible intro. Welcome to the very first Careless Sports College Football Show. It is August 1st. We have college football this month. We've waited ever so patiently, and we finally have it this month. The 2022 season was had some exciting regular season games, and that's what the sport is about, really, the regular season. If you care about postseason and the playoffs and all that, which you obviously should, even though it's not as good as the BCS, you would know Georgia had their second national title in 2 years in a riveting 65-7 blowout of a national title game against TCU, who upset the Michigan Wolverines in a great semifinal game to advance to the national championship. Some takeaways from 2022 season, in case you forgot. TCU, weird magical run until they lost in the Big 12 championship game to Kansas State, who would eventually go on to lose the Sugar Bowl. Kansas State would go on to lose the Sugar Bowl against Alabama. TCU made the playoffs anyways, even though in the Big 12, if you're losing a game like that, and you've barely won the rest of your games, as much as you deserve to go to the playoffs for an undefeated regular season, you're going to be met with some bigger boys. And somehow they got through Michigan, so I was proven wrong. Michigan just sucks in the playoffs. Jim Harbaugh is no good in the playoffs. Great head coach. Michigan had an undefeated regular season Big Ten champs over Purdue, but really over Ohio State, who ended up sneaking into the playoffs at number 4 and almost beat the Georgia Bulldogs if it weren't for one kick at the strike of midnight to go into 2023. Like I said, Georgia won another national championship. We are not surprised. You all were there. We all know what's going on. So what's happening in 2023? In this show, we're going to preview a team we all got questions about, blue blood, if you will. We're going to talk about the August slate. We're not really going to talk about the slate. There's no slate in August. It's one game that I really want to talk about and maybe even predict. The rest of these August games are no good, poopy bad. So I guess, yeah, I'll have to edit this a lot or not. Maybe I'm going to put this footage in here raw, baby. That's what Careless Sports is about, because we don't care. By we, I mean me. I'm the founder of this non-company, Careless Sports. So I guess let's begin. College football starts officially on Saturday, August 26th. We got Navy at Notre Dame, UTEP at Jacksonville State, UMass at New Mexico State, Ohio at San Diego State, Hawaii at Vanderbilt, San Jose State at the USC Trojans, and Florida International at Louisiana Tech. These games are bad. These are not good games to watch, unless you are a fan, of course. It'll be interesting. I got 2 takeaways from this. Do we see a noticeable improvement in week 1 under Lincoln Riley's defense at USC? I personally doubt it, that we see it in week 1. I'm not doubting USC's ability to have a better defense. We got Notre Dame versus Navy. Navy at Notre Dame. Really, all we're going to be looking for is Sam Hartman, how he gels with the new offense, as well as a new offense for Notre Dame after losing their offensive coordinator, Reese. Thank Jesus. Tommy Reese. After losing offensive coordinator Tommy Reese to Alabama, Notre Dame will be a team to watch. Dark horse playoff team. I'm not expecting too much from them. I think an 8-4 season, which I guess would be a regression under new head coach Marcus Freeman, will actually kind of look like an improvement with the schedule that they have this year. If I'm a Notre Dame fan, I'm personally okay with 8-4. I'm okay with I don't want to say I'm okay with 7-5. I think that 7-5 you'll survive. You'll survive. I think Marcus Freeman is legit. I think he's recruiting. His recruiting is legit. His portal classes are legit. I think he's legit. Then we have Thursday, August 31st. Just a bunch of games I don't want to talk about. We got Nebraska at Minnesota. How does Nebraska look? Immediately. Week 1 on the road. Big Ten game at Minnesota. PJ Fleck is a good coach. Minnesota hasn't been bad for a long time. Minnesota won't be a bad team. I'll take Minnesota to win the game. I think Nebraska shows some life in week 1. And I think even in a loss, the fan base will have something to look forward to. The game I really want to touch up on is 7 p.m. ESPN prime time night game. Florida at Utah, a rematch of last year's game. Another week 1 showdown. The Utes go into the swamp. It's a close game. Utah's a much better team, and Florida pulls it out because of that SEC home field advantage, baby. You don't want to if you're a West Coast team, you do not want to travel to the Southeast to play football. Even if you're a better team, which Utah was, they'd go on to win the Rose Bowl over Penn State, and Florida would go on to crap the bed the entire season and get absolutely demolished by Oregon State in the Bucky Bowl. I don't some random boring bowl game. And after that, it's September. I'm not going to spoil the September slate, you know. As for Utah and Florida, Florida at Utah, I think this is the best August game. My camera died. The camera's dead. What a shame. Anyways, Florida at Utah. This is probably the best game in August. I think we see a better Florida team, a Florida team that beat Utah last year. Now Florida will be the underdog, as they should be, going onto the road in a night game at Utah's not, nothing easy. Nothing is in this sport. It's not going to be easy going into Utah and winning on the road first game. I think Sunbelt Billy Napier is poised to have a better year. I'm not super high on the Gators this year. I believe they have a over-under win total of 7, maybe 6. I'll probably take 6 wins even. And I'm not saying you should fire Sunbelt Billy after this season, even if it's only 6 wins, but the seat will definitely be hot. Now, this is the first episode ever, so it's not going to be a very long episode. Truthfully, I'm just trying to figure things out. I don't really know what to talk about. I mean, I know what I want to talk about. I just don't know how to talk about it. If you guys, the listeners, all 3 of you, have any suggestions on how to improve the show, whether it's audio quality, which I know needs to improve. I just got this mic yesterday. I'm trying to figure things out. If there's, hey, stop saying and like and smacking your lips, maybe I'll back up a little bit here. No one likes smacking lips. No one at all. That was really loud. I apologize. Yeah, just any fucking recommendations, if you will, at all. I will happily take those. Anyways, let's continue with some news, I guess. So, Pac-12, well, the Pac-9, formerly known as the Pac-12, is in shambles. They cannot figure out a media rights deal. Pretty sure they'll be airing games on the CW right after the Flash. This is obviously bad for many reasons. Colorado said goodbye. They're heading to the Big 12 next year. So we're going to have I believe that's 15 in the Big 12 in 2024, 16 in the SEC and Big 10. Big 10 is also taking 2 of the Pac-12's probably richest members in USC and UCLA. So you're missing your only blue blood in your entire conference, as well as another LA school to completely take out the LA market. Obviously, the networks such as ESPN, Fox, NBC, the CW, Disney Channel, they're not going to be, they're not going to love not having those LA TV markets in your conference. Now, Oregon and Washington and Utah are great teams. They're not going to pull in the views that USC and even UCLA will. And now Colorado with Deion Sanders is also a huge draw, and they said goodbye to the Pac-9. So what's the future? Before we talk about Colorado, USC, UCLA, what's the future for the Pac-9? I'll keep it short and sweet. They're dead. They're dead. They're dead, buried, and gone. They are a finished conference. They're done for. If you can't figure out a media rights deal when you had USC and UCLA in your conference, and now you don't, you're just not going to get one. Yeah, you're going to be airing games on the Cartoon Network. All right, Pac-12 After Dark is going to be on Adult Swim. This is. I feel really terrible for, fans of the conference. Fans of the schools in the conference. I mean, I gotta feel for those schools that are milking billions of dollars a year. It's kind of interesting. I don't love conference realignment. I actually hate it. I kind of like the regionality of college football personally. I mean, the Pac-12 should stay on the West. The SEC should stay in the South, which they have been. I mean, Oklahoma and Missouri are, I wouldn't say the South South, but if you look at a map, they're on the bottom of the country. So I'll take that. The Big Ten really just threw a wrench in my whole enjoyment of college football by taking USC and UCLA. I mean, I don't know. I'm personally not super thrilled about UCLA going on the road to Minnesota and it's like snowing and UCLA doesn't know how to pass the ball in the snow, and they could be a great team that year under Chip Kelly, and their whole season's getting derailed because of greed and money, because someone had to go join the Big Ten so they can play Rutgers in late November. I mean, I don't know. I hope Lincoln Riley's offense works in a night game in November and anywhere you go. I mean, they don't play night games in November in the Big Ten. I'm pretty sure it's too cold. But yeah, I don't really visualize a Penn State whiteout and think, oh yeah, that Penn State whiteout against UCLA, their arch rivals. That's college football right there. It's just it doesn't excite me, right? Um, as for the rest of the member institutions in the Pac-12, Pac-9, whatever the hell, here's what I think. I think you're gonna have Oregon and Washington they got to be Big Ten bound, right? I mean, I would honestly like to see one of them go independent. It's just not feasible anymore for schools to be independent. Now with the expanded playoffs and automatic bids and what have you, I just thought of this maybe because the automatic bids thing is not going to last. Let's be for real. That thing, it's not lasting. You're going to have it for as many years as the contract says. But there's no 6 conferences that can field a team in the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. I mean, with Texas and OU, the best 2 Big 12 teams historically are out of the Big 12. Big 12 can I think the Big 12, that's a bad example. The Big 12 can field someone. If these rumors about Florida State and Miami are true and they head out, that would definitely lead Clemson to head out. So now you got, 2 or all 3 of those in the SEC. The ACC is able to field Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a good team. They're a great team some years, but they're not going to put up a fight in the playoffs. They're not going to put up a fight when they have to line up against a bunch of 5 stars at the University of Georgia who maybe didn't even win the SEC championship game. You're going to have 65-7s all over the first round of the playoffs if you have automatic bids in this new age college football. It's just not a good idea. And also, that's 6 conferences. You're still going to have a group of 5 team in there as well. It's not going to work. I'm just not a fan. Therefore, teams are probably not going to be independent until, of course, this whole automatic bids thing is like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. Then maybe we see more independence. It's probably not in the best interest of a school to be an independent like Notre Dame, because not every school is going to land an NBC TV deal for just them. Actually, no other school except for Notre Dame could really land that realistically. So I think you got Washington and Oregon, the 2 best, I guess, schools left in the Pac-9. They're probably going Big Ten. That gives Big Ten 18 schools. You got your Arizona States down south. I think they could be Big 12 bound. I think the Big 12 might actually survive after all of this. Maybe, send Utah down to the Big 12. If the SEC wants to expand, they're probably just going to eat up the Big 12, so maybe they can, swallow up those Arizona schools. I think Cal, then you got your dead teams. I think Cal is dead. I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers and all you smart San Franciscan people. Cal is dead. Cal Berkeley, wherever the hell that is in California, they're a dead team. They're a dead school. They got deep pockets, but if they're not willing to spend that money on a football program, then, out you go. Stanford, this is your chance to go to the FCS, get in the Ivy League conference where you belong, and you can run that conference for decades because, no one's going to take you. Unless they're willing to shell out some big money for a head coach and remain relevant, maybe Stanford could go to the Big Ten as well. I would hate to see it. Maybe the MAC swallows up some of these schools. I'm probably missing a few schools. You got Washington State. You're dead. You're dead. You're buried. You're gone. You're just gone. I'm not saying this is the death of college football. I'm not trying to sound super negative, but if you're a Pac-12 school, not named Oregon, Washington, Utah, and maybe the Arizonas, get out. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Stay hopeful, but if you hear some terrible news that your conference is going to be playing in the Mountain West forever, forever, come back to the show and give me a like and say, "Oh my gosh, you were right. Whatever can I do to show my gratitude towards you, God of college football?" To that I say, share this with your friends. I don't know. Maybe this never sees air. It's poorly worded. I got let me. It's poorly worded. I know. Um, I don't know. I feel like we should have a memorial for the Pac-12. You know, great memories. Those USC teams of the past, now owned by the Big Ten. Pete Carroll, Reggie Bush, Matt Leonard. Those are Big Ten boys. That's Big Ten football, man. You know, Vince Young won his national championship against a Big Ten school, USC Trojans. You can't forget the history behind UCLA. I'm just kidding. I couldn't think of a single thing. I'm not that old. Maybe even if I was old, can't think of a single thing. Colorado, I mean, weren't they good in the 90s? There you go. They're dead. You're gone. That's a Big 12. Well, I mean, hey, wait, when they were good, I'm pretty sure they're in the Big 12 anyway, so that's course correction, if anything. I mean, it's unfortunate. The way the sport is going, I see it, you know, you got your expanded playoffs, you're going to drop the auto bids. Maybe in favor for division winners, because you're probably going to have 4 divisions in the SEC and 4 divisions in the Big Ten, and then they're going to go to a playoff to crown a national champion, and, you know, I don't know, slap your own ass and call yourself Shirley if you've heard this one before, because that's literally the NFL. College football is turning into the NFL. Players are getting paid. That's great. You know, that's an immediate, if it's mediated, it will be fine. NIL is not a bad thing. You know, players are getting traded through the transfer portal. I mean, let's not act like coaches are not always in players' DMs during the season. Like, yo, you're too good to play at Wake Forest. Come on down to Alabama. I mean, let's just be real here. It's happening everywhere. You're too good to be at North Texas. You know, come down to Auburn. I mean, we all know Hugh Freeze has been. He was probably doing that way back at Ole Miss. Let's be real. That and some other nasty stuff. It's a shame. It's a shame. I like college football more than the NFL because it's completely different in every single way. And even if the format is the same, college football will still be way better than that men's league of a game. It's just, I don't know. It's unfortunate. I don't like it. It is what it is. That's all I got to say about that. Speaking of Forrest Gump, I think the team I want to preview today, I mean, we might as well go in alphabetical order-ish, is the Alabama Crimson Tide. A lot of question marks on this team. Disappointing 2022 season. People look at the 2021 season like that was disappointing. Let's not forget that team did lose a terrible game to Texas A&M on the road. They played a garbage game. I think Nick Saban would be the first to admit that they did not play up to the Bama standard in that game. They course corrected the entire season. Didn't slip up the rest of the way. Destroyed Georgia, the eventual national champions, in the SEC championship game. Bryce Young wins the Heisman. Obviously, they beat Cincinnati. And Bama's down a receiver in the national championship game against Georgia. And once again, they could not stop Jamison Williams, similar to the SEC championship game. And then Jamison Williams, a ghost comes in, a very spooky ghost, comes in and he breaks Jamison Williams' leg or tears his ACL or whatever. He's gone. Bryce Young has no targets. Bryce Young has no time. This is one of the best defensive you'll ever see in college football, that 2021 and 2022 Georgia. With no receivers and no established run game in the regular season, you're toast. Alabama was toast before that game even started. I mean, let's think about this realistically. If Jamison Williams is there, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to take anything away from Georgia, and that's not what I'm doing at all. But, we probably are looking at another Alabama national championship. Now, nothing and nobody was going to stop Georgia from running the table in 2022. Georgia, that has nothing to do with Alabama. I'm not trying to take away anything from the Bulldogs here. As for 2022, we're looking at this Bama team, and, we're all saying, all right, well, this team, Bryce Young is coming back, Will Anderson is coming back, almost your entire secondary is coming back. Yeah, you got fresh wide receiver targets. You get a whole offseason to work with them. You get a whole offseason to work with those receivers that played against Georgia in the national championship game. You got Jahmyr Gibbs coming in. This team is going to be lights out. This is Saban's best team since 2020. Could be his best ever. This is a like surefire 14-1, 15-0 national championship season, and they go 10-2 in the regular season. No one predicted that. At the same time, no one predicted Tennessee to have a receiver to catch 6 or 7, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14 touchdowns against Alabama in one game. I mean, what happened? Like, a Nick Saban defense doesn't do that. Bad coverage. You got rid of defensive coordinator Pete Golding. Got rid of offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien, who's now at the New England Patriots. So good luck to Mac Jones, because Bill O'Brien is one of the worst offensive coordinators I've seen at a team like Alabama. Who's been running the Tua Tagovailoas, the Jalen Hurts, the Mac Jones with the Devontae Smiths, Jerry Jeudy, high-powered passing offenses, like those that Alabama fans dreamed of, but we're okay with not having because Derrick Henry. It just didn't happen this year. Bill O'Brien he kind of dropped the ball. Saban dropped the ball on those hires. Pete Golding was always questionable. And, you lose on the last play of the game to Tennessee. Now, if that Tennessee game goes Bama's way, like let's say that pick six that they got wasn't called for pass interference, which it probably shouldn't have been. Again, not taking anything away from Tennessee. I just see it how I see it. I mean, this Tennessee team got destroyed by South Carolina with their now current new starting quarterback who can throw a football over mountains, throw them over the mountains, if you know what I mean. Kid can sling it. I don't know how you lose to South Carolina that bad. I'm not saying South Carolina's a bad team, but this was a playoff team. This is a fringe playoff team, Tennessee. They get muddled by South Carolina. I don't think Bama loses that game if they play it 10 times. If they play it 10 times, I think Bama wins that game 6 times. 6 times. Again, with LSU, you play that game 10 times, I'm telling you, Bama wins that game 8 times. That was one of the... It was if you don't remember, the opening drive, Bryce Young throws a pretty dumb interception, and from that point on, like the rest of the game, it was all LSU. I mean, the score was close, but I mean, none of the offenses could get things going, and that's obviously on Brian Kelly and the LSU defensive staff. But you got to think, if Alabama had another offensive coordinator to utilize Bryce Young, do they lose to LSU? Like, absolutely not. 0% chance. And there you go. I mean, just like that, 2 plays and you get an undefeated season from Alabama. Now, let me play realistic, man. Alabama was a few plays going 8-4. Let's look at that Texas game. Now, Bryce Young, the safety in the end zone, even though his knee or elbow never hit the floor, I am very close to a lot of UT people, and they will swear that he was, and that should have been a safety. And there you go. Texas wins the game and continues to go 9-3 or whatever they went. Bryce Young just led like a magical drive at the end of the game. We kick a game-winning field goal. Me and Will Reichard, we kicked that game-winning field goal. They win the game. That's that. But yeah, like I said, they're 1 play away. They're 1 kick away from not beating Texas. Then you got Texas A&M. Texas A&M, they're on the 1-yard line. They're starting. Bama's starting who? Who is Bama starting? Oh yeah, Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe's a fantastic runner. He looks like a horse out there. He's fucking strong as shit. Yeah, dude can't hold on to the football. That's a big problem, especially when you're especially when you're playing an SEC opponent with Jimbo Fisher as the head coach. Say what you will about him. He knows how to coach a team. Ish. I mean, I'd love to see his ass fired, but ish. He knows how to coach a team. Ish. Yeah, Bama's 1 play away from losing that game. What was that? Yeah, that's 2 more games. That's 8-4 right there. Boom. I mean, that's just unacceptable from a Nick Saban team. And I think Nick Saban knows that. So, as for my 2023 preview, I do not care who's going to be the starting quarterback. I'll get that out of the way. Starting quarterback for Alabama does not matter. Doesn't matter at all. They could put a 12-year-old kid out there, and they will be fine. I think this Alabama team is going to be angrier. I think they're going to be meaner. I think this Alabama team is going to win the West. I think they're going to have an 11-1 regular season with a loss to the Texas Longhorns at home. So I kind of see it going down. They got Middle Tennessee, opening game of the season. That's That's a cupcake win if I've ever seen one. Then what do they got after that? Oh yeah, and then they're welcoming Texas. Texas is coming into town week 2. That's the game they're losing. I think if Texas keeps Quinn Ewers in last year's game, Texas wins the game. They're gonna have Quinn Ewers this time. This is gonna be week 2. This Bama team, they're gonna be angry. They're gonna be fired up, but they're gonna be fresh. Like they're gonna be little babies up against the Texas team who's returning a lot of production. I think Texas takes the win on the road in week 2. I don't even have to tell you how big of a deal that's gonna be. I mean, I think Bama fans and A&M fans and anyone who hates Texas on Twitter will literally feel hellfire coming up from down below into their phones and into their brains because that's gonna be a sight to see. Bama then goes on to the road to South Florida. Group of 5 road game for Bama. That's kind of fun. It's gonna be a 2:30 kickoff ABC game. They're not losing to South Florida. Now, Bama has struggled on the road as of late. That is true. They're not losing to a G5 team, especially fresh off a loss. Nick Saban doesn't lose 2 in a row. He typically doesn't lose 2 ever. I think South Florida is going to be met with a really mean Alabama team. Also, South Florida is pretty terrible. And another intriguing SEC matchup is going to be this is actually the SEC opener, is at home against Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin's coming back into Bryant Denny. Who knows who the starting quarterback is going to be for either of these teams? I'm expecting Ole Miss to start Jackson Dart. I have no idea why Spencer Sanders even went there in the first place. But, if a man goes down, Bama's still got to deal with a dangerous quarterback. This is going to be, people are going to call this a trap game. People are going to say, oh, yeah, Ole Miss, they have the potential to take down Bama. But they say that every year. Never happens. I don't expect it to happen this year. Ole Miss now has Pete Golding. And Bama now has, what's his name? Steele? Kevin Steele or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't see Bama losing to Ole Miss in this game. I think they're going to use that South Florida game to get their toughness back. I mean, I know that sounds a little silly. It's a G5 team, but I never underestimate going on a road environment in college football. I'll just say that. I think Bama will be fired up for the Ole Miss game. I think you're going to hear a lot of predictions that week saying Ole Miss is going to run the table against the Tide or whatnot, and it'll be a sight to see. Bama's going to kick ass against Ole Miss. They're going to go at Mississippi State. Mississippi State is now having a deal with a tragic coach situation, a coaching situation that they didn't want to be in the first place. Bama's going to take care of business on the road against Mississippi State. Next game, October 7th. This is the game that I was debating between Texas and this game. I'll say this. In real life, if Bama beats Texas, they will lose at Texas A&M. They have this game. I mean, this schedule is too hard for them to go undefeated. If they go undefeated, scratch them in for the title. I think this is where we're going to see Bama kind of unleash its full potential on offense, but struggle a little bit on defense. I think this is where we're going to see the run game. We're going to see like a 2009 Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson dual running back situation here. Bama's gonna beat Texas A&M. It's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be really, really close. I think A&M is gonna be a much improved team. I think A&M ceiling is 11-1 with their one loss being Alabama. I truly think that. Now that's not my prediction for A&M. I do think they're gonna be a really good team. I think they're gonna be really good once Texas and Oklahoma come into the conference, and that's gonna be Texas and A&M. That's gonna be an exciting rivalry when they're both good. I think Bama beats Texas A&M. They have room to grow on defense. I think after this game, people are going to look at that Bama offense and they're going to get a little scared. I think LSU is going to get a little scared. I think Auburn is rightfully going to just shit their pants. I think Tennessee is going to they might look at that Bama offense and be like, "Oh, no. Time to plan a little differently." Then Bama hosts Arkansas. Last year, Arkansas was a preseason little dark horse favorite. We're not seeing that so much this year. Sam Pittman's a good coach. Seems like a fun dude. They got a returning quarterback, a great returning quarterback, I might add. I don't see it happening. This team doesn't really strike me as the type to beat Bama. They're not big enough on the offense on the line of scrimmage. Sorry, they're not big enough on the line of scrimmage to beat Bama. They're just not. That's just the truth. You got Tennessee next. Now, thankfully for Bama, Tennessee goes to your stadium. Because if they didn't, that would be an issue for you. Yeah, I think Bama would lose this game on the road again. I think Joe Milton can literally throw a rock to the moon. But I mean, you can throw it far. Let's see if you can throw it accurately. I think this Bama secondary is going to be maybe the most dangerous in the country. You throw a ball, if it's off target even a little bit, like, you're going to pay for it. And I think Tennessee's offense is going to rely heavily on deep passes. And if those passes are where they need to be, or if the coverage is, it's all there, it's all locked up, and Bama's going to take this game. I think Tennessee matches up really well with Alabama on the line of scrimmage. They got some big boys. I think Bama's going to be more prepared on the line of scrimmage, even if they're bigger or not. They're going to be more prepared. They're going to be well coached. I think Bama's going to run it down their throat. I think here is where we see joyless murder ball. I think we for the Tennessee game, I think we open Alabama -3, -4.5. Game days coming into town. A lot of, you got your Desmond Howards picking Tennessee. You got your Lee Corso's going to put on the smoky hat thing, the mascot head, and you're going to get some joyless murder ball on CBS at 2:30. So get ready for that on October 21st. Then Bama has their bye week before this is quite a stretch, actually. They got Tennessee, bye week, LSU. That's a stretch. I mean, thank God for the bye week, because that would have been brutal. They're hosting LSU as well. LSU is probably a lot of people's favorite to win the West. They were mine. If you asked me a week ago, I kind of flip-flop between the two teams, who's going to win the division. I'm just telling you straight up. There is a 0% chance that LSU beats a Nick Saban Alabama team twice in a row, especially if you got to go in Bryant-Denny to win the second time. It's not going to happen. There's going to be another. I mean, game day could be in Tuscaloosa twice in 3 weeks. I'm telling you right now. LSU is not going to win this game. Bama could have lost to Texas A&M and Texas at this point, or Tennessee. They could have 2 losses already. Alabama is not losing this game to LSU. This is going to be the angriest Alabama's going to be all season long. This is the game that Nick Saban has circled on the schedule. Now, Tennessee's scary. They're looking at Tennessee like, all right, let's see what you got. But they're looking at LSU like I want to kill you. I want to murder you, And that's what the rivalry is when it's at its best, is two teams trying to kill each other. I think Brian Kelly is a great head coach. He's going to do great things at LSU. I mean, beating Nick Saban in your first year is obviously a plus. It doesn't happen 2 years in a row for anyone, except for Hugh Freeze, who cheated. So, there you go. After Alabama beats LSU, they're going at Kentucky. They're gonna beat Kentucky. I like Stoops. He's a good dude, good coach. I don't know. I guess you could call this their trap game. Well, this isn't their trap game. Their trap game is at Jordan-Hare. Yeah, Bama's beating Kentucky. Now, I mean, Kentucky's got a transfer quarterback. If that works out, Kentucky could be second place in the East at best. But, I mean, there's obviously a huge gap between Georgia and everyone else in the East, including Tennessee. I don't know. When it comes to SEC East opponents, I just don't expect much unless your name is Georgia or Tennessee. So, sorry, Kentucky. You got your FCS cupcake, Chattanooga Skip. I mean, that's a win. And at Auburn. At Auburn is it's going to be weird. It's going to be Hugh Freeze's first year. I don't know if you've been on Twitter, but their fan base is excited about some of the transfers they have coming in. They got a new quarterback in there at Michigan State. I don't expect much from Auburn or Hugh Freeze in his first year, and I think that's completely fair. I'm not saying he's going to do a bad job. I actually think he's going to be their best head coach since Gus Malzahn, believe it or not. So, congratulations to the Auburn faithful on that one. You really picked a winner. I mean, that is accurate. You picked a winner. You didn't pick a saint, but you picked a winner. And that's, if winning is the game, then you can pick up however many sex offenders you want to coach your program. That's fine by me. I think Bama will beat Auburn again. It's his first year. If Auburn's ranked, scary. I think if the SEC West championship is the Iron Bowl, right? Like those two teams are the ones playing for the West in the last game of the season. I'll take Auburn. I will, but I don't expect that to happen. I'll make him 11-1. I'd put him in the SEC championship game. I'm not here to predict postseasons. I'm just here to say that two SEC teams are going to be in the playoffs. Georgia's going undefeated. Bama's probably going to go to the playoffs. If LSU doesn't, Tennessee doesn't, it's going to be Bama. It's going to be Georgia, Bama, which, I mean, I guess if you're kind of connecting the dots, oh, Georgia's going to playoff, Bama's going to Bama lost to Texas. How's that going to happen? Well, I think those two teams are going to play in the SEC championship game, and the one team with a loss has to win for both of them to get in there. So I guess if you want my way too early SEC championship prediction, yeah, I'd take Bama over Georgia in a huge upset, a la 2021. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. I don't expect those two to see each other in the title. Actually, I'm not predicting the title at all. But yeah, that's my Bama game by game prediction. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to say about Bama, but also nothing at all. I mean, we know who they are. This is Nick Saban. This is Alabama. Like their floor is 10-2. I know we got some dumb people out there on the internet, who think Alabama's going to go 8-4, Alabama's going to go 9-3. I mean, just actually look at yourself in the mirror for 1 second, and just be disappointed in yourself. Honestly, all right. It's a tired tradition year after year. Whenever Bama's looking like they're gonna have a down year, to be like, oh, Bama's over 7-5. Bama's over. Enjoy the Birmingham Bowl. It's not going to happen. This team will go to a New Year's Six Bowl. There's too much talent. There's a lot of question marks. I agree. Now, I could see this team going 10-2 again. And I think if you're an Alabama fan, I think you look at 10-2 and I wouldn't be too mad. I mean, you don't have a quarterback. Like the quarterbacks, I didn't really want to talk about them. You got Jalen Milroe. He dropped the ball 4 times against Texas A&M last year. They were afraid to throw the ball. It kind of looked like Jalen Hurts in the first half of the national championship game against Georgia. Dude was afraid to throw the ball, right? Then you got Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson's your 5-star recruit. He looks pretty good. His high school tape looks pretty good. But his spring game tape was pitiful. I mean, the whole spring game for everyone. It was pitiful. It was a terrible showing from Milroe, Simpson. Honestly, I kind of like the freshmen a little more. I like Lonergan. I like Eli Holstein. I mean, if we want to get a little crazy here, if this is the offense I think Bama's going to bring out as a Jace McClellan and some freshman-led running back, tandem thing with a strong offensive line, I'd put the freshman out there. I'd let Milroe, Simpson transfer out. I'd put the freshman out there, and then of course we got Tyler Buckner, who was He was a ball distributor, that's for sure, at Notre Dame. He would distribute the ball. Sometimes not even to his own team. So he's a sharing guy. He shares the ball a lot. Seems like a decent leader. I mean, I'm sure he'll be. I don't think he's a bad addition to this team. I think it's pretty telling that when he transferred in, no one transferred out, right? I mean, that's not good. You can't have that. I mean, if someone transfers out, then you're like, okay, someone won the job. Someone won the job. No one's won the job. If no one's won your job by August, and you don't have Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts in the same quarterback room, but instead you got 3 guys who, if this whole Bama thing doesn't work out, could be working at Canes for the rest of their life. You got Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, Tyler Buckner. I'm high on Simpson. He's my favorite to win the job. Me personally, because I kind of root for the chaos in the sport. I want a freshman. I want give me Lonergan, give me Holston. Give me Eli Holstein, number 10. Get a little AJ McCarron number back out there, a little Mac Jones action. Louisiana boy, freshman, true freshman. Let's do it. I want the chaos. I want a true freshman to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. I want a true freshman to get shown the hell up by Quinn Ewers against Texas. The true freshman's going to learn, man. I don't know. I think Bama will be a better team years from now. I'm talking next year. You're going to have a fantastic team if you start one of those freshmen. I guess Simpson would be coming back too. This is a tired argument. That was a terrible point. Forget I said that. I mean, future's bright, obviously, for Alabama. They just brought in the #1 recruiting class. Julian Sand is the, as of right now, the #1 quarterback in his class over Raiola, I think his name is. Dylan Raiola, little TikTok-looking boy, committed to Georgia. That is my Alabama 2023 preview. And that's going to be it for the first show. Looks a bit long. It looks like I went on for about, I don't know, half an hour. I'll edit some stuff here and there. My camera died very early on. I only have one battery for it, so that's a bit unfortunate. It said it had an hour of filming, so I don't understand. It died in like 5 minutes. It's cool, though. This is Careless Sports College Football. If you've made it all the way through, thanks, like a lot. I know it's not very focused commentary. I'm very new at this. If you are watching, please give me some criticism. Be mean about it too, and tell me my prediction was terrible. Tell me my Alabama preview was awful. Just be an angry Auburn fan or something. I don't know. They're not even my favorite team. I mean, you'll never know who my favorite team is unless you know me personally. But if you do not comment and reveal my favorite team, please. It's Rutgers. My favorite team is Rutgers, guys. I'm a New York boy. What can I say? All right. Thank you so much. I would put an ad read right here if I had one. I'll see you later. Bye.